Call the meeting to order. In the absence of the council president, first order of business is to elect an acting council president.
Motion for David Garrett as the acting council president.
Second.
What is it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Here.
Councilman Garrett?
Here.
Councilman Accomando is unable to be here this evening. Councilwoman Dominio?
Here.
And Council President Mazer is also unable to be here this evening.
Please rise for the salute to the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence for all the victims of 9/11.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law, 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may have the pass or legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
Motion to open the
Motion.
meeting to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone wishing to be heard?
Evening, everyone. Thomas Van Winkle, 128 Lincoln, Saddlebrook. Just real quick about the Mayor's Youth Group. We're coming into the new school year, so I just want to remind you and everyone watching this that Mayor's Youth Group is open to everyone entering 4th through 12th grade who reside in Saddlebrook. They don't have to go to Saddlebrook schools, but just have to reside in Saddlebrook. We're looking forward to being involved with all the activities going forward and for the holidays, Halloween and Christmas and all that stuff. We're going to meet again soon, so stay tuned for our meeting date. We will announce it and let everyone know as soon as that date has been determined. And new members are always welcome. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thanks, Thomas.
Anyone else? Motion to close the meeting to the public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Comments, Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I'm going to start like I always do with my COVID-19 update. As of August 26th, 2022, in New Jersey, there were 1,038 hospital patients with confirmed or suspected COVID. The daily numbers of COVID hospital patients totaled 1,033 on August 17th and fluctuated between 968 and 990 from August 19th to the 25th. The state average of 2,306 new cases per day from August 19th to the 25th is down from the summer's high mark at 3,767 daily cases. 72 people died from COVID in New Jersey and 3,200 nationwide during that span. Transmission rate has improved very, very nicely to 0.87. A rate lower than 1 indicates that each existing infection causes less than 1 new infection. Again, it's a sign that the virus's spread is slowing down. The true case totals are more difficult to calculate now because of the prevalence of at-home tests that don't typically get recorded in COVID statistics. With recent declines, the CDC officials have dialed back mask guidance in New Jersey. The agency guidance doesn't trigger any mask mandates for the state at this time. Public schools won't require students heading back to school to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Bergen County went from a medium to low community levels. So we're at a low level right now. Other COVID news that may impact some of the residents, the federal government will stop covering the cost for COVID vaccines, treatments, and tests as early as this fall. The action will likely bring out-of-pocket costs to people without health insurance, but Medicaid and most private health insurance plans will need to continue covering certain costs for that time period. The FDA plans to authorize updated versions of Pfizer and Moderna COVID boosters around Labor Day. The new shots target the Omicron subvariants, which account now for nearly 90% of all new COVID cases in the United States. Around 16 million working-age Americans aged 18 to 65 have what they call a long COVID, including 2 to 4 million who are out of work because of long COVID. Budget, we have our auditor here tonight, I'm glad to say, but I'm going to just tell everyone, basically the municipal tax rate is 0.756 cents per $100 assessed value. The tax increase on the municipal side is $97 on the average house assessed at $407,000. The other portion of the taxes is county, Board of Ed, and library. Bills are being printed and should be received in the mail late next week, September 5th through the 9th, or early the following week, September 12th to the 16th. I'm sorry, we are one of the last, we're last at getting these bills out. We didn't want to do an estimated tax as our auditor had said we should do, but we're okay. We have enough money, and it's just they're out a little bit later, and people, we did notify all the residents as best as we could, and told them that they're going to be out late. We are the 10th lowest of 70 Bergen County municipalities as far as our taxes go, so that's something that's good. Our road paving program, Garden and Kenwood Court are done, just punched list items now, have to be completed. Doing the cement work, preparation work on Shepis Avenue right now. We're also doing Graham, Skillman, Spindler, and Spindler as part of the Phase 1 resurfacing program. So they should be doing those streets, the concrete work soon. Bob's gonna give an update on dates. Phase 2 of this year's program is North and South Boulevard and Adriana Street. Mayhill Street from Market to Railroad, the railroad tracks, is being done as part of New Jersey Transit Grant, and that they're doing the concrete work right now. New building construction update, I'm gonna let Karen speak about that. I wanna thank her for all her hard work. She's doing a fantastic job. Speed humps, they should be done this fall in October. One of the contractors that's doing the paving is going to probably do that work. And that should be done probably in the next couple of weeks. Should be done sometime in the fall, probably in October. Wilson and Fairlawn Parkway and Lanza are the ones I think that are slated to get the speed humps. We're also going to be televising storm drains within the next couple of weeks as well. We had quite a few issues with that last heavy rain during that storm. Upcoming events, 9/11 ceremony is going to be next Friday, September 9th, right here, 6 p.m. at Town Hall, 93 Market. Ribbon cutting ceremony for Starbucks, Tuesday, September 20th, 4 p.m. We always welcome all new businesses that come into town, so they're inviting most of the town to come out and have a cup of coffee and talk to the new people from the business, and our town. I'm sure some of our town officials will be there as well. This Starbucks it's people either seem to love it or hate it. A lot of people are worried about traffic, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. I went before the planning board, and it seemed like a good project. So, well, we'll see. Townwide garage sale is Saturday and Sunday, October 8th and 9th. That's coming up as well. We did that the last couple of years, and it was a big hit. So Saturday and Sunday, October 8th and 9th. The Unico Street Fair is going to be Sunday, October 2nd. That's on Market Street from Westminster to Mayhill Street. I believe it starts at 10 and ends at 4, around 4. Also, the municipal complex ribbon cutting it's pushed back. It's going to be sometime in middle of October on a Saturday, either the 15th or 22nd. Town Hall, I'm glad to say, is back to regular business hours after this week. And I want to wish all the students, teachers, administration, support staff, parents, a very successful school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Simaluka?
Thank you. In regard to the speed issues that are in town, we had a number of complaints from residents on Danaway, and they were generally between the addresses for the people that were making most of the complaints were between the intersection of Lewis and Dana goes around into Saddle River Road. So what we did was we set up our speed camera, which was a very good purchase, and ran the numbers. First set of numbers didn't turn out. There was a glitch in the system. That was fixed. And then the real numbers came out. This is, I don't know if you can see it on here. I don't know if that camera can pick it up. But it's a graph table, basically. And you'll see that in that graph table there are small bars, bar graph table. There's small bars on the top and small bars on the bottom. And as you generally see, right in the middle is where most of the vehicles were. And it's interesting to note that between, when you get to the greater of the bars, they're generally between 18 miles an hour and 24 miles an hour. Certainly not the great speeding that we may have anticipated. In fact, 68% of the vehicles, and again, it's going in both directions, were between 17 and 26 miles an hour. So more than 2/3 were going slower or just about at the posted speed limit. And yes, there were actually vehicles going greater than 50 miles an hour. Those vehicles represented less than 1% of the vehicles traveling on that roadway. The volume for the week that was tested was almost 3,000 vehicles, and the mean average was 21.9 miles an hour. So the committee will go over these numbers and decide what, if anything, is to be done. But the numbers are what the numbers are. This is the bar graph for Shepis Avenue. And I must say that the Shepis Avenue numbers may be skewed because in the week that they did this, which was this past week, the 7 days this past week, they were doing work on Shepis Avenue. Now, this was done on the west end of Shepis Avenue. I believe it's right around where Oak intersects with Shepis. So as you see, the main part of these bars are between 15 miles an hour and 23 miles an hour. There's a lot more traffic on Shepis. We recorded over 5,500 vehicles. About 2/3 of those vehicles were going between 14 miles an hour and 23 miles an hour. The mean average at that location was 18.4 miles per hour. And again, there were 57 vehicles that traveled 50 miles an hour or greater than 50 miles an hour. That represented 0.7%, so again, less than 1% of the vehicles. Now, what we did was we moved it to the other side. We moved the speed counter to the other side of Shepis, closer to Fair Lawn Parkway, and we're going to get those calculations. But what we are going to do is go back to that location on Shepis, the Oak Avenue area, because, to get a better idea. The numbers may have been skewed down because, big construction trucks being around, it just makes sense that cars are not going to be traveling as fast as they may otherwise be traveling. So, again, we're always looking to see if we can alleviate speed conditions where we can do it. But instead of just saying, oh, a bunch of people are complaining about speed on such and such street, now we can go back with the data and actually look at it. And now we have data for at least 2 locations. And by the time we come back for the next meeting in October, we'll be doing a number of other streets. We have some in mind. So if you believe that your street is the source of greater than average speed, and again, there's going to be, even in a cul-de-sac, there's going to be some idiot that's just traveling at an excessive speed. But if you believe that there's a speeding condition or a speeding issue on your block, please contact Town Hall. And we'll be happy to see if we can get some data for your street. Really, it's a slow month. Welcome everyone back from vacation, and all the children, parents, and teachers and administrators on a happy and healthy school year. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman D'Arminio?
Mr. Wilcox, I would like you to, I'll report on the building, but I've asked Mr. Wilcox to be here tonight to review what we said when we started and where exactly we are now, if you would be kind enough to, thank you.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. So, back 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, we started this project. Did a number of projections in terms of debt service and the ultimate cost to the township. And the building, which you heard before, the ribbon cutting will be next month. And ribbon cutting will be next month. The building is on budget. There will be no need for any additional appropriations or supplemental appropriations in order to get the building open. The 100% of debt service is now in the budget. Sorry. 100% of the debt service is in this year's budget. You heard the mayor mention the incremental municipal tax increase of about $97 this year. That increase is solely the responsibility of garbage and trash. If you've been following the meetings earlier in the year, the town went out to bid. I believe, Pete, there was one bidder. And this has been going on all through the state. When long-term contracts have expired during the COVID period, the new contracts are exponentially more expensive because of all the, and this is the explanation of the vendors, tremendous additional amount of garbage and trash that was picked up, especially during the first year, and the additional tipping fees that went along with that were all absorbed by the contractors. So the contract here in Saddlebrook was $510,000 more in 2022 than it was in 2021. And there's not a thing we can do about it. We had to pay for it. So the $538,000 municipal tax increase, which translates into the $97, is the sole responsibility of garbage and trash. Has nothing to do with the building. As we've mentioned many times over the last few years, we were in a program where we kept building up our surplus to put money away so that when the debt service eventually incrementally hit the budget, that increase in debt service appropriation would have a zero or very negligible impact on the municipal tax rate and the tax increase. And I believe the proof now is in the pudding that the debt service is on 100%. Your 2022 budget, the tax increase was the sole responsibility of garbage and trash collection. And the building's on budget and just about ready to be opened.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So, again, it always goes off. What we've said collectively over the last few years came out exactly the way we thought it would. And we were very lucky because when we sold the debt 2 years ago, we got the lowest interest rate that governments have seen in 100 years in selling tax exempt obligations. The rates today are 2.5 times what they were then. So we saved millions of dollars by our timing in terms of purchasing the property, purchasing the building, signing the contract, getting the contractor. This is one of the times where it's a very huge success story. That everything kind of fell into place, and now it'll all come to fruition with the opening of the building.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair, I just have one question, since you're here. It's really about next year's budget. How are we gonna be impacted by the lack of CARES Act money? Because the last 2 years, we received quite a bit of money.
Again, every budget year is a challenge. Before the meeting, Pete gave me some year-to-date revenue numbers to look at. Some of the revenues are performing better than they did last year. We've realized more than 50% of what we anticipated in the budget for this year, such as the court starting to get back in action. Listen, the last few years have not been easy. When between the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan, the federal government gave out a fair amount of money to everybody to help, even things out a little bit. It'll be challenging. But again, we have been in a program where we ended 2020 with over $6 million in surplus. We ended last year with, I think, $5.7 or $5.8 million in surplus. We'll end this year somewhere between $5.5 and $6 million in surplus. So we have the ability, and we've done that. What we've done over the last few years is utilize some additional surplus to try to even out and minimize the municipal tax increase. And I'm not saying that, $97 is not an increase. It is, but it's less than $25 a quarter. And, the town, just like everybody else, is getting beat up with inflation. We're paying more for gas. We're paying more for supplies. We're paying more for pretty much everything, just like everybody else. So it'll be a challenge. Every year's a challenge, but again, we go through the process. Pete's pretty cheap, so he tries to put together a minimal budget, and we do have to make up for that federal money that's come in the last couple of years. So it's going to be a challenge, but it's not just us. It's 70 municipalities in Bergen County. It's 21 counties in Bergen County. It's 600 and some odd school districts. We're all in the same boat. Now, will the government step in again, or will the state step in? Now, there is some additional state aid that's in the state budget that was approved after you adopted your budget, so that money's available for next year, so that's something. It'll be a process, just like every year.
Thank you, Steve.
Anyone else? Questions? Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Building.
Labor Day, everybody.
Do you want me to do the building?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, because it sounds so much better coming from you.
I've just been doing it long. Take care.
Bye-bye. To bring you updated with the building, I hope you all, if you drive by, you could see the front is being painted. The back and the sides of the building are painted. We're working on the front. It was delayed because the orange, the Home Depot orange is metal. So unfortunately, with the very hot weather we've had, the metal gets very hot, so therefore you can't paint. So that is taking place right now. I'm happy to say that all of the free furniture that we were able to get is in the building and has pretty much done just about every office in the building. And it looks nice. I think it's really nice furniture for being used. And I believe it saved us almost $500,000. We do need some file cabinets. We do need a few more desks, but overall, we really saved a lot of money. The basketball court the floor is being laid on Tuesday. That should be 3 days. The baskets are up. It's coming along nicely. As the mayor said, we're looking to October 15th or the 22nd. I can't confirm the date for the grand opening, although I'd like to. We're waiting on the master switch for the permanent power. The building is working on temporary power, and it is working fine. However, we do need this switch for the transformer in order to put it on permanent. That switch is supposed to be shipped from Mexico tomorrow, and it will take 7 to 9 days to get here. The electricians that are working on the building are all prepared for it to come in, for it to go in. Public service has to come in. So everything is in place. But unfortunately, with the supply chain situations, I'm hoping that it is shipped. We need that in order to get a TCO to have the grand opening. But I am there every day, and if anybody wants to stop, please come and take a look. We all think it's very impressive. And as Steve said, it was sort of like everything fell into place, and I want to thank my team for putting me to oversee the project, because I am really enjoying every part of it. So we will keep you posted. We won't have a meeting. Our next meeting is what, October 6th. If the switch comes in and I know everything's going, you'll start seeing notices all over with the date of the grand opening. And it will be on a Saturday, the 15th or the 22nd. So you'll find out well before we get into the next meeting. Any questions? Email, call me, stop by, love for you to see it. And we are not over budget. We are within our budget, and at the end of the project, of course, we will give you a complete breakdown of it. And children, yes, back to school. I bet the parents are happy. I wish you all a nice Labor Day weekend. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. The Flood Committee will be meeting on Tuesday, September 27th, not Wednesday, September 28th, as I said previously, due to Captain Galbo's retirement dinner. Again, the Flood Committee meets at the Senior Center at 6:30, so that'll be on Tuesday, September 27th. Thank you. Pete? Ordinance?
We have ordinance number 1726-22, originally scheduled for a second reading. The action for this evening will be to table it until October 6th, so the planning board has time to review.
Motion to table?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council. and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requested, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. So one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Old business? Anyone?
Through the chair, just gonna ask Bob to just, for everyone to know, because they're interested in when their streets and the surrounding streets are being paid, so do you have a timetable on the various streets?
Put your mic on.
So, as mentioned earlier, Garden and Kenwood have already been paved. It's just punch list and restoration work. A lot of it happened yesterday. Mayhill and the parking lot is scheduled for the third week in September. They're working on the concrete work on Mayhill currently. Shepis, the concrete work should be done this week, and then they're gonna move on to Skillman and Spindler next week. Those two streets should be relatively quick. Give it, I'm gonna say 1 to 2 weeks, and then they'll move on to Graham Terrace. Graham Terrace is longer, has, a lot more work to it. Once Graham's done, then you're talking about milling and paving. It has not been scheduled yet, but I would anticipate sometime towards the end of October, early-ish November for those streets. The next contract is then North and South and Adriana Streets. Fair amount of concrete work in there that's slated to start in about 2 weeks. And I would think probably the milling and paving of those roads, again, not scheduled yet, but I would think in the same time frame, that late October, November-ish period of time.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you. Any other old business?
Just through the chair, I just wanted to mention, I wanted to thank Thomas for taking pictures, photos at the municipal complex. And you can go online, he goes there quite frequently, and they're all posted on the Saddlebrook website, saddlebrooknj.us. There's a special section that you can go to. So check them out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Through the chair,
Yes.
in going through the new complex, I was very surprised and pleased. Some of the artwork that you see on occasion throughout this building, the walls now are bare. The artwork has been framed and will be put up once the building is ready for it. And I believe they're all from students from Saddlebrook schools. It's beautiful, beautiful artwork. Some of them are paintings, some of them are photographs, but it's going to brighten up the whole municipal complex, and it's basically showing off the talents of our students, and they are very talented. Thank you.
Absolutely. New business? Any new business? No. Okay. Motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone?
Good evening. Jerry Taylor, 318 Shepis, Saddlebrook, New Jersey. In regards to the marijuana dispensaries, is it still one on 46 that is coming into us? Because I know last time you were talking about the location on 46 where it was going to be, they're going to be actually opening up. 1, 2, 3, do we know?
I believe it's.
Through the chair, I believe it's two.
It's 2?
It's two. Well, they have not got, neither one has gotten a license from the state yet. So,
And in reference to the license too, now,
they haven't got a license from us. I'm sorry. I didn't
I'm just
cut you
saying,
off.
yeah.
They haven't got a license from us. All they got from us was a resolution saying that,
Okay to come in.
right, it's okay that, right, we check them out, their background, and they're legit, and that we would accept them if they were to
Right.
get a license, and if they were to qualify through.
Now,
our-
once they qualify and they open up for business, is it going to be like every year they have to basically reapply to stay in town? What I'm asking is, supposedly they open up and all hell breaks loose. How do we get rid of them?
My understanding is that it's a renewal. You have to renew your license.
Every year you got to renew it.
And
There's a
first
fee
of all, if
associated.
there is a problem, they probably would have, the first issue would come from the state, because the state is heavily regulating the cannabis industry in New Jersey. So if there is a problem, and only because there's so many people that would like to open up, they don't want the bad guys, the state, that is.
Of course.
Neither do we.
Yeah.
But the state definitely doesn't want that. So knowing that there's, for every person that opens up, there's probably 10 people
That want
banging
it.
at the door saying, let me in, they're gonna deal with the state first. Assuming that the state doesn't do anything, we still have, like anything, listen, people come into us and they ask, they have to pass a background check to drive a livery service, to be a chauffeur. So certainly, if the state's regulating them, we also have our regulations. So if we see that there is a problem, there's gonna be an issue with getting approval for renewal. But it will be on a yearly basis that they'll have to pay a renewal fee to come in. And we will be doing our due diligence on whether or not they are being a good neighbor. We have given the resolutions of approval, sort of just like the mayor said, just telling people, or telling the state that we've checked them out and they seem to be okay. We don't know. We don't know what.
Is that my time?
But I'll defer my time to you.
Yeah, thanks.
But after that, if we find out that they're not being a good neighbor, certainly we can do something about it.
Absolutely. And in reference to the money being taken in by the town, do we know where that's going to be going, like where it's going to be spent as far as to the kids, seniors, or any idea? Has it been thought about? Maybe taxes?
I'd be lying to you if I said that we've thought that
'Cause you don't
far
know what-
in advance, but we'll welcome the extra money. We'll find something good to
Oh,
spend.
I'm sure. Yeah, you could send them. You could send it down to Shepherd's Ave. You know.
Mayor, I think that what there is certain monies are coming in, they could be in our general revenue, but there's a certain percentage, I believe, that we are allowed to designate to certain things. There's a certain percentage of what we get that we can say certain percentage of that percentage goes to youth activities, go to senior activities, go to transportation, go to enforcement, our first responders, and things of that nature. So we can, I know that there's one part of the whole income percentages that is supposed to be designated to certain areas, and we designate that. But certainly, we don't have, we haven't thought that out because
We haven't
You don't know
we
what's
just
coming in.
haven't- We're, you know, when we did this, everyone's like, oh, it's gonna be opening up next week. It's a long process, and it starts
yeah.
with the state. It hasn't even come to us.
And then they still, and as far as the dispensary goes, they still handle all the security and all that. That's all their responsibility, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I don't know if you guys driven down 17 the one day, there was like 900 people waiting to get in over there by the bar. And it was just crazy.
Yeah, I liken that to when Sonic opened up on Route 17.
Yeah,
That's-
basically, yeah.
Everyone in the world was there. They had to have special cops. I think a cop got injured. People were
Somebody hit
all
him.
over the road. And listen, at 11 o'clock at night, if you want to get a Sonic shake or burger, I don't think you're going to have to wait in line too
No.
long. Things kind of even out.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thank you. You as well. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Motion to close?
Motion, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Final comments? Councilman Sumulu?
Great Labor Day, and since it was in front of my house for a while, the St. Joe's Feast used to be big. It's the 107th St. Joseph Feast in Lodi, so everyone come out and have a good time. It's always Labor Day weekend, and I missed it before, but good job by Ray Abel and the rest of the organizers and the volunteers for the St. Philip Summer Festival of Fun. I know the mayor was there, was working the games. I was away on vacation. I could not make it this year, but I've heard only good things about it. I think the weather was good that week. So great job by Ray and the rest of his people.
Councilwoman Yarmenia?
Thomas, to you, I want to say thank you. You've been on this project from the very beginning, and all your good work in taking all the pictures and documenting the whole process. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, any final comments?
Just have a happy Labor Day weekend, and Jerry, I gotta say, you look good with the beard. You look a little like Sean Connery, you do. That's a good look for you with this upcoming election.
Thank you, Mayor. Have a great school year. We'll see you on October 6th. Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Take care.